It's Basia Alexander with partnerwithnature.org. And in this video, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what the 5 steps of the connection experience mean to me personally. So let's start with the first step, which is the observation experience. Well, for many years, as we've been developing the Partner with Nature work, as my partner, Dr. Jim Conroy, has been developing his tree whispering and the tree whisperer work, we would go to all kinds of client locations and parks, and it was usually my job to take the photographs there so that we could show before treatment, during treatment, afterward, what the results would be. And I really didn't realize it at the time, but in walking around, finding just the right angle, getting a great picture of the whole tree, then zooming in, looking at the leaves or the leaf buds, looking at the trunk, looking at the structure of the tree. Usually I'd walk around the tree, and I didn't realize it, but I was already starting to connect. And afterward, Jim would tell me something about what he discovered in the treatment. And sometimes I would have a question or a comment that would just sort of come out from nowhere, and it would shed light into his work with that tree. And so that made me realize that, yes, just from the process of observing, I was already connecting with those trees. And by observing, I would always end up really appreciating them. There would be something about that structure or those leaves that, that would be something to really appreciate about that tree. And then once I was appreciating, I would start to care about the tree. There's a tree out in California that we go to regularly, and it was pretty sick when we first got there, 5 or 6 years ago. And it had what's called bleeding canker on it. It's a disease that makes the tree look like it's bleeding, and it didn't have many leaves. It really looked in a very sorry state. And so that brought forth not just affection, but also empathy and sympathy for the tree. It made me want to come back and check on it. How's that tree doing? Let's go back. Let's see how it's improved. And the good news is it really has improved quite a bit over these years. It's really showing a lot of wonderful new growth, because trees take time. They're on tree time. Then the next step in the 5-step process is quiet. And of course, it helps to have quiet around you, not a lot of stuff going on, but you also have to have inner quiet. And for me, that inner quiet, it's a real sense of peacefulness that I get. And it allows me to open up my intuition and listen more closely on the inside to what the messages might be from my own intuition. And then, of course, that actually goes very quickly to the 5th step. Very often for me, I'm getting messages from the trees. So every person goes through this process at their own rate. So for me, it's very quickly that I jump to the 5th step. But the 3rd step, that inner quiet, it very often means just having to let go of all the stuff that's going on in the day. There's a call, or there's having to be somewhere, or some upset. I just find that in myself, I really have to let go of that stuff and realize that this process, it isn't about me. It's about the relationship. It's about the tree. It's about nature. So getting to that inner quiet place, I'm a lot better at it these days than I used to be. And it might take you a little time to get there too, but give yourself a chance, because that's when you can move then into that more satisfying place. So that place of engagement. Now, I've led meditation exercises for years in the various classes that we teach about engagement. And I love to call that stepping inside the plant's world, finding out what its life is like. So I'll tell a story about a beautiful redwood tree in Muir Woods, which is the national monument full of redwood trees. And I connected with a wonderful tree, just one of the trees along the path. And as I slipped into that quiet, and then a little deeper into that engagement, I'm very strong in my visual sense. So I suddenly perceived a tall, narrow, robed figure. And I felt that I was looking at the tree as if it were a person, and that he was showing me something about himself, something about his life, that his life was this sense of standing majestically and being along the path and listening to a lot of people as they were going up the path. And then I slipped again very quickly and easily into that step 5, which is mutual messages. And I got this message from him where he very cheerfully said, "Oh yes, I love to listen to the people as they walk up this hill. And I send messages to my buddies, the other redwoods up the hill, saying, oh, there's some interesting people coming along." So that was a really profound early connection experience for me that left me with a confidence, and to trust and have confidence in these steps of the connection experience is really the most important thing. In the very, very early days, I had some concerns. I wasn't really totally confident, but the more I practiced, the more I let myself be with the trees. So I started with the observation and moved into appreciation and then affection for trees, let myself quiet myself more with trees. Then it was very easy to begin to step into their world and then get those messages from them, and mutually also to be able to give them messages, messages of love, messages of caring, messages of wanting them to improve their health. So that's just a little bit about my personal experiences and how I feel about doing this 5-step connection experience process. Thanks so much.